Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to XAML tutorials. Today is our lecture number 9 and in today's class I'm going to demonstrate how can you perform data binding in an XAML application. So let me first tell you what is data binding. Binding means to join something, to get incorporate with something, okay, and it always involves two entities at a time. What does binding means in another way? Let me give you a real world example. The first example that I want to tell you is, let's say somebody is a friend of someone. Let's say there is a guy A and there is a guy B, and guy B is always dependent on guy A. I hope it is clear to everyone. So whatever the A will do, guy B will automatically do that. If there is no response from the guy A, the guy B will not be able to do anything. So that means guy B is binded with guy A. I hope it is clear to everyone. When guy A updates itself, guy B will also update itself. And similarly, there are other ways also to perform this particular binding or to look at this particular binding. And there are basically three types of bindings that I am going to tell you today. That is one-time binding, one-way binding, and two-way binding. One-time binding means you can specify the binding only once. That means the communication will take place only once. That's it. Then there is no other communication, though A is changed or B is changed. And there is one-way binding. One-way binding means when the source updates itself, the target will be automatically updated. One-way communication. When the source changes, target updates. I hope it is clear to everyone. And then there is a two-way binding, and two-way binding means when you change the source, the target will be updated, and you change the target, the source will be updated. So two-way communication. So this is what binding is. So in today's lecture I am going to demonstrate with a practical example that how can you perform these all three type of bindings in today's lecture. So let's start and have a look what we have today. Alright, so I want to create a new page here, add new item, and then select your blank page and give here a name, let's say binding example. Okay, binding example, that's fine. And now what you can do, you can create a simple UI. Let me pick up some controls quickly. So let it zoom also. Yes, now the zoom is fine. Go to the common controls, select a label or a text block, and take a particular text box. Okay, so that's my text box. Aligned it properly, make it large, and take a list view or a list item. Okay, so that's my list, and take a text block again and place it here, and now select both of these text boxes and go to the properties. Okay, no properties are appearing. Select first properties and then come here and then change the size from 11 to 20 so that it can be readable text block, and the name that should be written here is, let's say, name, and here you should make it 20 also, and the name that should be written here is select color, and then that's my list. So I'm placing my list here and increasing its size to this and its height to this, and then I must add the items here. So let me add the items. So here you can add the item. So the first item that you should add here is this, and what you can write on this, let's say red, and then it is not a button, so let me select it as a object. Now it's fine, but it is added as a button. No, save it, go to the XAML, and now inside this list view you have to add the list items. So cut this list view from here and paste it here at this point. So what are the name? Yes, after this paste here, and then you can come inside this list view and add the items inside this. So string, sorry, item, items stacked panel, item string, item colon string, sorry, items, and then you can write here string. Okay, how can I specify the items? Okay, so to add items, first you did this, and now go to the design again and select your list view, and then go to the items and then click here, and then select your list view item and click add, and then add further items also. So go to the content and change its content, let's say red, and then the font size should be 20, and then add another list item, and it should become, let's say, blue or green. So green, and the size should be 20, and then add another list view item for, let's say, orange. So orange, okay, and then change its size to 20. Sorry, that's the margin, make it default. Where was that size? Yes, so 20. Now it's fine. So okay, so you have added 3 items inside this. So what I wanted to do, when I select red, it should become red. When I select green, it should become green. When I select orange, it should become orange. So that is what binding is. One control is dependent on another control via some property. Okay, so that's my text box. Remove the text that is written by default, and now it's fine. Give here a name, let's say my text, okay, and then this list name should be my list, and then go to the XAML, okay, and here is your text. Come inside this and write here background, okay, and you have to bind things. So for binding, curly brackets are applied. Close these things and close this also. So curly brackets are applied, and then what you can do, okay, one thing that I have done a mistake here is this. So that's my list item. I have to provide the name here. So name is already applied inside this list view, so paste it here. Now it's fine. So my list view name is my list. That's correct. I have mistakenly applied on a list view item that name. So sorry for that. Now go to here and write binding, because you are going to bind. And bind what? You are binding some particular element. So element name is equals to, look, your all elements are appearing here. That's why I have given the name. So my list I have applied, and then what is the other thing? The mode of the binding. So binding mode should be one way. Okay, binding, one thing that I have mistaken again. Okay, mode is equals to one way, one time, or two way, that I have mentioned in the beginning of the lecture. So let's say one way, and then you have to specify the path, which thing that should be accessed from that particular list. Okay, so that you have to specify that path. So you can write here selected index, selected item. So why these are coming here? Because you are picking up the list, you are picking up the details from the list. So selected item, whatever I will select, red, green, orange, it will be picked up dot content, and its content will be displayed. Selected item dot content, if I am not wrong. So close, make it small. Now it's fine. So save it, and because you have binded your text box with this particular list item, so when you click when you select, the selected item will work, and the content will be picked up, and it will be displayed, and the color of this text box, that means the background of the this text box should change to that particular color. So let's see what will happen. Okay, so the app is now ready. My text box is appearing here, and now it is saying me to select the color. So when I select red, the text box is becoming red. So look, when A is changing, B is changed. When source change, target updates. When source change, target updates, one way. So when you are changing here, it is changing there also. That's what one way binding is. So guys, this is a whole new world. You can do a lot of things with this binding property, and you can manage the controls based on the settings that you can select appropriately on your user interface, and then you can type anything what you wish to write. Simple. So that's what the binding is. Now let's see the other ways. So guys, now let us do some different code. Instead of this background, let us write the text and let us bind the text, okay, in two-way mode. So make it one way again. I have checked it on two-way, but background is not on two-way. So now let us change it to text. So what you can do, come here inside and then binding, and then the element name, the name of my element is my list, and then comma, and then binding mode, okay. What's the problem? Text, binding, element name, my list, and then it's saying that provide your mode. So the mode is two-way. I'm in text property, and then path. So path is selected item dot content, okay, save, and then let's start this. So one way is also applied, two way is also applied. One way is applied on the background property and two way is applied on the text property, okay. So let us verify it. Alright, so guys, one thing, when you click here it is becoming red, and now your focus is on this point. So when you write here green or anything, it is updated in the list also. So this is not a logical way, but I'm just showing you, demonstrating you that look, both the controls are updating itself. When you change the source, the target is updated. When you change the target, the source is updated. I hope it is clear to everyone. So you can specify a two-way binding with the help of this particular technique. And then the last is one-time binding. I hope you can do that by yourself. All you have to do is you can change the one-time mode here. Simple. So one time, that means it will happen only once, okay. So let's start. Alright, so if I select here this, look, it is nothing is happening because it is binded once and you cannot change now anything else. So I hope it is clear to everyone. That's all about the binding methodology that we have inside. It is not only inside XAML, you can use it in desktop application also, and you can use it in every type of application in .NET you can create, okay. So hopefully you have understood everything. If you do not understand anything, please do write me. Thank you so much. Take care. Allah Hafiz.